Thank you for joining the Maven's Private Diaries, brought to you by thespicyboudoir.com, purveyor of high quality, premium body safe pleasure products for the over 50s and people living with a disability.
Hi, my name is Susan, and these are my private diaries. Occasionally I will host a guest speaker or read out someone else's diary, with their permission, of course.
Content warning.
This podcast contains the occasional swear word, lewd comments and discussion around sex.
Warning, warning.
You will no doubt hear the emotional pangs of a woman who has lost her libido to menopause. Listen at your own risk and enjoy. You know, so for as long as there has been humanity, which is thousands of years, there's always been pornography in some form. You know, cave paintings, statues with big phalluses, and as we progressed into the photography and film, well, you guessed it, man had to document it. So now in today's light, it's certainly true that not all porn is created equal or made with ethically sound production values. So what do you think happens when a porn actress and a little old lady get together? Why, a film about sex, of course, but it's done senior style. So we've got Jessica Drake, one of the world's most famous adult performers and also producer of the Wicked Guide series, has teamed up with internationally renowned senior sex advocate Joan Price to produce a sex education film for seniors. That's right, sex ed for seniors, and it is explicit. You will see everyday people having sex just like they would at home. And when I say explicit, you will see a close-up shots of vulvas, clitoris, labias, penis, pubic hair, nipples. It's all there, okay, in its beauty and glory. What I like about it is that it's unscripted. It's been produced with really sincerity and value, and it demonstrates some really valuable lessons about communication, how to adjust to changes in your physical ability, and it also provides how to navigate first-time sex with a new partner. And I really feel that it's truly groundbreaking. And we are very excited that after months of waiting, the film has arrived and is available through thespicyboudoir.com. So I had the pleasure to speak with Joan Price about the film, the motivation and aspirations behind the vision, how the casting experience went, and then Joan also provides some really good advice on what to say to your doctor when you need to talk about sex. So let's get started. Well, I love these chats with you because I find my own appreciation of my sexuality expands. I just find, you know, new dimensions and new pathways forward. So what we were talking about before, there's a segment in the video where you talk about don't age out of your sexuality, don't age out of your confidence and out of your ability to do things. And I'm going to turn that around the other way to say aging into your sexuality is empowering, because at this time of our lives, and I guess if you had to draw a line in the sand, maybe say 45 and over, by that time a lot of people have done the family, done their careers, and they're looking at themselves as in the next phase of their lives. So what are your thoughts about that, Jane?
Well, my thoughts are things start to change in our 40s, yes. But there's also a big difference between our how our sexuality looks and feels at 45 versus 55, 65, 75. I'm 76 now. I remember 45. But there are so many ongoing changes that I think if we accept and even celebrate the process of change, that it isn't an age, it isn't a number. Yes, we're aging in, and I love how you said that. But it isn't about how many years we have, except that The more years we accumulate, the more experience we have, the more wisdom we have, the more, I hope, openness to change evolves in us. So I think if we keep ourselves open to that, instead of, okay, a 25-year-old sex or 35-year-old sex was the best and anything else is inferior, anything else is an also-ran or a stepsister. No, it's all learning, it's all gaining, it's adjusting. And if we can keep a sense of humor and keep educating ourselves, we're sexual beings lifelong.
We certainly are. So do you think we should start this journey, like a lot of people do leave it until later in life? Should we actually make attempts to do it earlier, say in our 30s? I know when we're in our 20s, our mindset as humans is probably not right there. We've got lots of other drivers such as career, family, social life, and so forth. But I remember when I was in my 30s, and that's when I discovered my sexuality and started my journey. I guess in my 20s, just didn't think I needed to. I guess you just don't seem to think that far ahead. But I just wonder in society if we should start thinking about preserving our sexuality at an earlier age and bring that in.
I think we should start thinking about it as soon as we become sexual. And here's why. I developed a workshop and I gave it for the first time in Nijmegen in the Netherlands to a group of about 100 college students. And what I talked about was what I know now that I wish I'd known at your age about sex and relationships. And these are such crucial things. They are, for example, learning how to communicate, learning how to know and then express our wants, our needs, our boundaries, our limits, our hard yeses, our hard nos, our maybe, let's try this, I didn't like it, let's go back. So there is that. And young people tell me they don't have those skills. They're so busy trying to be the person that they think their partner wants them to be the kind of lover they think their partner expects them to be, based on nothing that's real. I mean, as I see it, I'm just putting my words in their mouths now. But when I gave this talk, I had such a huge response about that topic, but also about the notion that if we expand our idea about what good sex is, right from the beginning, instead of thinking if we happen to be heterosexual that it has to be PIV, penis and vagina intercourse, that's the goal, that's where everything happens, that's the great hurrah, the fireworks. It's not how it happens for 75% of people with vulvas. So why are we making that the gold standard when that doesn't work for most of us? So come on, let's open that up right away and explore what we can learn about our own sexuality, how to try things out safely, consensually, how to continue to try things out. You say, okay, I found the perfect sexual me at 35 or whatever. Revisit that at 40, revisit that at 45. Keep revisiting that. Each new relationship is an opportunity to revisit that. And one of the things that seemed most important to those college-age students among my messages was that just because a relationship ends doesn't mean it failed.
That's right.
It takes a long time for us to learn that, right? We don't know that at 20. We often don't know that at 30 or 40. But once we can, it gives us a way to see relationships that don't last in a whole new way. We are ever changing. A partner is ever changing. The dynamics are ever changing. We take what's good for us when the relationship's good for us. And then when it's no longer good for us, we can decide to move on with appreciation for what we got from that relationship, but also with the knowledge and acceptance that we're ready to go in a different direction now.
Mm.
It might be sexually, it might be something nothing to do with sex, but just the relationship is not what it was at that other time. It's darn hard to have a relationship last a really long time. Most of us don't manage that. So if instead of feeling like failures, if a relationship ends, if we can say, I really appreciate that I learned this from this person, and I will always treasure that. I will always treasure learning this, and this about myself.
Mm.
And now I'd like to explore this other way of relating. And you know, this is something that I'm sure you're aware of at your age, and most people my age and your age are understand, but it takes some real life changes to get to that point.
Mm.
And if we could just accept this, it's probably going to happen, this relationship that I'm in right now, it'll be wonderful as long as it's wonderful. But I'm not going to feel like a failure if it ends, which it probably will, because most do.
Mm. No, that's great advice. I've had a similar experience in the past where I've talked about my sexless marriage. And I learned a lot about myself through that process. And then my previous relationship, I learned more about myself as well. So I'm now in a long-term relationship, and it's been the best I've ever had.
Wonderful.
But I must keep the relationship with myself going as well.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's what I'd like to, segue into the DVD, the Wicked Guide, Jessica Drake's Wicked Guide to Senior Sex, which
May I
you
hold that up?
co-created. Yes, because that's what we're here to talk about today.
You see that? Because I can't see myself.
No, go a little bit higher, please, Joan. Higher, higher, higher. There we go. It's a picture of Joel and Bonnie on the front, members of the cast. I think this is one of the most outstanding educational DVDs that's ever been produced.
Thank you.
First time I watched it, I'll just give you my first impressions. Firstly, it was the quality of the production and the sincerity and the authenticity. I mean, I have watched pornographic scenes of older people, but obviously they're staged, and the scenarios were about like a stamina and marathoning adventures.
Yeah.
This DVD allows you to come right in and share the spirit between the cast members, like Joel and Bonnie are a couple. And I was impressed with Marlene and Galen. They're the couple that had only just met.
Yes.
And through their off-screen communications and interactions, and then to watch them be sexual together, you wouldn't know that they had just met. They're both very skilled people at communicating their needs, their desires, and to listen to the other person. Sorry, I thought I put my phone on silent. I'll just turn that off. Sorry about that. So I'd really like to talk to you about the motivation behind the DVD and the content and the feedback that's been coming through to you from both viewers in the States and here in Australia, the Spicy Boudoir. We now distribute the DVD as well, and people can purchase. Thank you. We've had quite a few sales already.
I'm so happy.
Can't wait to hear the feedback. So how did it all start, Joan?
Well, before I forget, let me address some of the points you made, and then I'd love to come back to your question. This was so important to me. I mean, it means the world that you said what you did, because what was really important to me was that the cast members, the performers, were having real sex the way they like to have it.
Yes.
That part was not scripted. My advice, my narration was scripted by me. I wrote my narration, and these were the kinds of things that I teach in my books and in my workshops. And then for people who haven't seen the film, my tips are interspersed with scenes of real seniors having sex together in the way they really do. And it was important to me I'm suddenly hearing feedback from. Are you hearing that?
Could be my fan in the sweltering
No,
Australian
it's
summer.
my voice that I'm hearing.
No, you're good at my end.
I'll keep talking then. So what was really important to me when when Jessica Drake, who is incredible, she's an incredible educator, and filmmaker, film producer, director. She has an eye, she has a vision, she has a brain, she has a heart. It was the most amazing experience to work with her. And she said to me, "You're the expert, Joan. How do you envision this?" And I said, it's really important to me to have one couple that's a long-time couple, that they show what's possible with people who know each other really, really well, have challenges. As you know, Bonnie has medical challenges, and sometimes things feel good, and sometimes she says, "I can't do that anymore, this hurts," and they change what they're doing. So I wanted a couple that'd been together a long time in order to demonstrate how you talk about sex with a partner you've been with a long time, how it evolves, the kind of tenderness you bring into it. And that's exactly who they were, Bonnie and Joel. And then I wanted a couple that had just met, because so many seniors are newly single or have been single a long time. And they are not having sex with a long-time partner. They're having first-time sex with someone, and maybe many someones. So I know I was shooting for the stars here, but I said it would be really valuable to have two people who hadn't met before today. How is that possible? Well, with Galen and Marlene, that was possible. They both thought this would be a very exciting thing to do, to have sex on camera with someone that they hadn't yet been with. And so for them, there was the negotiating of first-time sex. What do we do? What do we not do? What do you like? You like it if I do this? Would you like it better if I did that? It isn't that they chatter all the way through, but the conversation is as important as any of the sexual acts.
That's right.
It was also important to me that they have sex that was not goal-oriented. That they didn't think, okay, we have to have the money shot, or we have to, it wasn't porn. Nothing against porn. Porn is wonderful for titillation, but this is for education. So I wanted people to be able to, the people who learn visually, to be able to watch this and say, wow, that was really sweet what just happened. I see how they did that. I see what they did physically. I see what they did conversationally. And they didn't have a goal. They had, look at all that. She had all these orgasms. They haven't had intercourse yet. Yeah. So that was part of what I wanted in my vision. I had this sort of grandiose vision. If I ever did a film, this is what I'd like to see. And I guess what is so amazing to me is that all of this came true. Because that's who Jessica is. That's who Jessica Drake is. She says, yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right, we'll make that happen. And you talked about the great production values. That was Jessica. She had a superb film crew, great editing. She worked so many hours on it. She's behind the scenes in this film. She's on camera just for a few minutes with the two of us together, but then she's behind the camera. She's got the headset on. She's directing, and she's talking to the camera people, and she's reassuring me that it's going to come out all right.
Well, it did.
It was, really
it's
an amazing experience.
It's a quality production, and I'm really proud to talk to you, and proud to be offering it to my customers and my community.
Thank you.
Can I ask? I don't know if you've been asked this question before, but
question.
Did you consider performing as part of the cast?
Well, Jessica asked me that too, and I said, "Oh no." The reason being that I have a certain persona in the among the seniors for sex education that that people trust, and these are not all people who would want to see an explicit film. And I just knew that it would change who I was, what my role was if I did, and that wasn't what I wanted to do anyway. You know, I knew we would get some people who felt really comfortable and loved doing that. That wouldn't have been me. What I felt comfortable doing was the vision of it, and and then making it happen, figuring out how do you go from this idea, what are the steps to making that happen, and working with Jessica on that. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
So let me just check my notes, please, Joan.
Sure.
So apart from my initial impressions about the quality and the sincerity behind the production, I felt, here I was when I was watching Bonnie, a woman similar to me, with, you know, breasts that move about, a tummy, wrinkles, cellulite. I loved it. Just whenever I watch porn, it's always someone with a very taut and trim body and perky breasts. So I never really see images of people that look like me. So I was really pleased to see that. The level of engagement between Bonnie and Joel with their eye gazing and kissing, I thought, to me, that's the key, isn't it, around communication? It's, and you know how she tells him, I can't manage that, my body's sore. And he was asking her, what would you like me to do? Would you have a preference? So those key little questions, that's all you need, you know, to move a situation through where you're respecting the other person greatly. But they were captivating.
And the tenderness between them, you couldn't have scripted that.
No.
That's so genuine, you could tell. And in fact, while they were filming their scenes, the crew and I and Jessica, all of us, we discovered we were holding our breath. Just, and then when they were done, we'd all go, It was so moving to us. I mean, we couldn't have been more silent, more receptive, more embracing of them. And they felt that. I know they felt that.
Yeah, no, they were gorgeous. Her laugh is so contagious and infectious, incredible. But they really do have, you can see the chemistry between them, and they just spark, and the depth of love that's there is incredible. So Marlene and Galen, I'm just curious to know, are they still in contact today?
I don't know that.
Okay.
I have no idea. I know they enjoyed the day, and some of us were speculating on what happened when they left the set, but no, we don't know, and I wouldn't want to invade their privacy even by asking. What they did for us was so special, and so real, and so raw in so many ways, because they were very vulnerable to each other. They were both tough and fierce, and in that toughness and fierceness, very vulnerable. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
No, it does. It's exposing yourself to that other person.
That's right.
I really found Marlene to be quite inspirational. Yeah. She explained how she had been on a journey of sexual exploration, and she never thought that she would be involved in BDSM or kink activity. And I would never thought I would own a sex shop, but here I am. So it was to see people, you know, walking the talk like that. I hope it really does inspire other people.
I love hearing you talk this way about it, because we've gotten such good feedback. And there's a whole big portion of my usual audience that has no wish to see this film because it is explicit. And I make it plain, it's explicit. People get naked and have sex. And people need to know that before buying it, that that's what happens. but it doesn't happen in the way you would expect. If you tried to imagine, okay, so what would that look like? You can't imagine without seeing it.
Now, your commentary, you said you scripted that yourself,
Yes.
and there's a section in there which I would like you to repeat for people watching this interview. It's your medical mantra.
Oh, sure.
Okay. I thought that was vital for people to hear.
So what that is, for the people who don't know, we need to be able to talk to our doctors honestly about our sexuality. And that's super hard for so many reasons. One, the age of the doctor often. How can I talk to someone the age of my grandchild about my sex life? And the other is they have 15-minute appointments or 10-minute appointments, and they're trying to cure illnesses. They're trying to keep us alive. They don't have time to ask about our quality of life. So we need to bring that in, because that is so essential to our quality of life. So what I did is I devised what I call the medical mantra, which I teach at every workshop I give. And I will be very happy to tell it to the viewers right now, on the condition that you and they will repeat after me. Okay?
Okay, I'll repeat after you. Definitely.
Repeat after me. Doctor.
Doctor.
My sexuality is important to me.
My sexuality is important to me.
Here's what's interfering.
Here's what's interfering.
Let's run the tests and find out what's going on.
Let's run the tests and find out what's going on.
And if you can't help me, please refer me to someone who can.
Please refer me to someone who can. Sorry, John.
Thank you. Let's say it all together now, without stopping. Doctor, my sexuality is important to me. Here's what's interfering. Let's run the tests and find out what's going on. And if you can't help me, refer me to someone who can.
Yes. Now, I'll just say I'm very lucky that my doctor, it's a woman. She's probably early 30s. We talk about sex all the time, and she's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Wonderful.
So I'm lucky in that regard. But I would encourage every woman, every man, find a GP that you can talk to about your body, your sexuality. It's a lifesaver. It'll keep you sane.
So many people ask me when I teach them this medical mantra, they ask me, what do you mean run the tests? And what I mean by that is that often, not always, but often, the sexual challenges we may be having are as a result of a medical condition that we do not know about. For example, erectile dysfunction, or inability for the clitoris to become engorged, inability to get aroused, inability to reach orgasm. All of these can be because of a medical condition. Maybe one like heart disease that impedes blood flow, or it could be a neurological condition. It could be any number of things. But if we can rule these things out or rule them in, depending on what we discover, then we're going to be more likely to be able to enrich our sex lives. But so many times, if you say, I can't, I can't get aroused anymore, and the doctor will say, use more lube, or won't say anything, or will say, what do you expect at your age? Well, that's not an answer.
No.
And I tell people that if you can't get a doctor who will work with you, who considers you a sexual being, and considers this a right of yours. You have the right to remain a sexual being and to be sexually satisfied. If your doctor goes, no, ew, what do you expect? You're old. Divorce your doctor, find someone better.
Doctors with attitudes, sometimes, I don't think they get taught anything at medical school.
Well, they don't.
About sexuality. So same with death. In my experience, they sex and death are probably the two topics that aren't discussed or taught in great detail.
That's right.
So just thinking about the DVD, is there going to be another one, a sequel?
I'm not at liberty to say yet.
Okay. But obviously...
But the
ideas.
more people say they need it and want it, the more people review the video, let people know, buy the video, the more likely that will be. Hint, hint.
Well, I have some ideas. I might talk to you off camera about that. I won't be doing a casting call though. But
you don't want to be in the next video?
No, I'll be fine. I do have a video on the internet somewhere, but it's not of me per se. You can hear me talking.
Oh.
And you can see my hand, but that's it. And that's all I'll say about that.
Okay.
Okay. Can I just close with the quote that there's a question in the DVD that you're posed about what's good and bad about aging?
Yes.
What was your response to that?
The best part about aging is that we don't die young.
Exactly. So let's make the most of our time.
Yes.
As you say, we're sexual beings until the day we die. We don't need a permission slip from anybody. This time is ours in later in life, and get to know your body, get to know your partner's body, and learn how to communicate with them, but also yourself as well. You know, listen to
and
how...
to realize that all of that is an ongoing project.
That's right.
You can never wrap it up and say, okay, no more to learn. There's always more to learn. And that's one of the great things about aging. There's always more to learn.
Exactly. Well, Joan, I might leave it there. Thank you again so much.
Do
you want to hold the DVD up again? Have you got it with you still?
Happy to.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Jessica Drake's Guide to Wicked Sex, co-created with Joan Price. It's available on the spicyboudoir.com, and would love to know what your thoughts are and what you've learned about it. So, Joan, thank you so much again for chatting with the Spicy Boudoir and me, the Maven. Really appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure. And I hope your viewers will also go to joanprice.com and see all the other things I do, joanprice.com.
I visit that nearly once a week to have a read. I love your advice. I'm probably your biggest fan.
Back at you, Susan.
Okay. Thanks, Joan.
Thank you.
So that's right. Getting older means not dying young. So let's embrace the time we have. If you've been thinking about your own sexuality while you've been listening to our chat, and you're not sure how to go about revamping your sexuality, you are more than welcome to send me a message. You can contact me at themaven@thespicyboudoir.com. Now, for people in Australia and also our friends over in New Zealand, you can buy a copy of the DVD through our website, and you'll also find all of Joan's books. We'll send them to you and bill them to you discreetly under our company name, Questa Vida. If you'd like to know more about the fabulous Joan Price, you can visit her website, www.joanprice.com. Thank you for listening to the Maven's Private Diaries. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and took away some wisdom, chuckles, or inspiration. Let me know your thoughts, either positive or constructive. You could leave me a review on your listening app. So this podcast is the property of Susan Jarvis, me, the Maven. For inquiries, please visit www.thespicyboudoir.com.